Good afternoon, students. Are you hearing my voice? Right. So, in our last class, we already discussed about Adi Dravida movement, which taking place in Tamil Nadu, and the inspirational movements like self-respect movement, which is also started in Tamil Nadu. All these things we discussed in our last class. Okay, we'll we'll see about Adi Hindu movement, which started in United Provinces, in provinces which one of the important concept in our anti-caste movement. Okay, now we will see Adi movements emerged as a radicalized attempt by scheduled caste Dalits in 20th, aiming towards removal of social evil practices of Indian society, which were discriminatory and exploitative in nature. During 1930s, 1920 and 30s, a new kind of ideology emerged known as Adi, where Adi means original, and it became common usage for those who are earlier known as untouchables or Dalit. Through this term, they identify them as a original inhabitant or indigenous population of India. This was spread across the southern and northern parts of pre-independent India, and the areas affected by it were Punjab, UP, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. So, emergence of Adi movements was significant as they were one of the earliest forms of socio-religious consciousness put forward by the section of society who never organized such long struggle, traces of which can be found in Dalit Panther movement of 1972 in contemporary times. This was the first form of struggle for making and defining their identity for their own, which does not solely focused on bringing socio-economic change in their status, but construction of an identity that provides them cultural distinction. However, if we look at the identity-based movement carried out by Dalit in India, they all differ in their strategy, ideology, and approaches, whether place to place or time to time or leader to leader. Thus, the Dalit consciousness and their movement came to be poor in different shades and forms. Sometimes they imitated or adapted the customs and beliefs of upper caste in order to achieve higher position in caste hierarchy, and sometimes using their cultural practices as backdrop to substantiate their distinctiveness and differentiation from other groups of people. But even after adopting high caste manners and asserting their right to equality, the treatment of upper caste towards them does not change at all. They still consider them as outcasts, which gave rise to conflict in form of argument. This movement then became the alternative move in the path of their assertion and identity formation. They believed that if Hinduism was discarded, untouchability would automatically come to an end. Dalit began to call themselves as Adi Andhras in Andhra, Adi Karnataka in Karnataka, Adi Dravidas in Tamil Nadu, Adi Hindus in UP, and Adi Dharmis in Punjab. So the movement based on the Adi ideology spread with different names and regions of Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. In Punjab, it named as Adi Dharma, Adi Hindu in UP, Adi Andhra, Dravida, Karnataka in parts of South India, all indicating claim to nativity and the original inhabitant of India. In UP, it emerged under the leadership of Achyutana, in Punjab led by Mangura, and in South India by Bhagya Reddy Verma and Arigaram. According to the Artman, the origin of contemporary Dalit movement in an organizational sector is to be found in Adi movements of 1930. These movements were the first major attempt within Dalit for generating an alternative paradigm to Hinduism. The conditions in which Adi ideology spread across parts of India was during the advent of external forces such as Christian missionaries, social reformist organizations such as Arya Samaj, Brahma Samaj were taking the cause of fighting against social evils such as child marriages, untouchability, etc. But the way in which they were approaching, especially the cause of untouchability, was not to fight against the main evil within Hinduism, treating inhumanly lower sections of the society through its rules and principles. Adi movements take the cause of untouchability from below perspective while fighting directly against the evils of Hinduism and making a separate religion of untouchables. In 1922, Swami Achyutanand launched the Adi Hindu movement to bring awareness among the Hindus. According to him, Aryans defeated the indigenous kings of India and deceitfully branded indigenous inhabitants of India as Dalit and destroyed their culture and established Hindu social order based on their principles. He also organized various public events to take movement forward. From 1922 to 1930, he organized eight national conventions, three social conventions, 15 social provincial conventions, and hundreds of district level conventions of the Adi Hindu movement. The first national convention was held in Delhi, which is happened in 1923, followed by Nagpur in 1924, Hyderabad in 1925, Madras in 1926, Allahabad in 1927, and Bombay in 1928, Amravati in 1929, and again Allahabad in 1930. So thousands of Dalit at the at the time participated in these events and walked for a longer distance in order to take this movement from north to south. Swami Achyutanand was against the reformation works of Arya Samaj, Arya and Brahma Samaj, because according to him, both these social organizations were not dealing directly with the cause of untouchability and were containing the elements of the Brahmanism, which again was discriminating Dalit in gaining full equality and justice. This was the time when Congress and upper caste Hindu found Achyutanand views unpalatable and indigestible and started a campaign against him. Soon after his death, the organized struggle of Dalit in form of Adi movements were collapsed due to lack of leadership. Okay, so and also many intellectuals argued that Adi movement in Uttar Pradesh culminated a kind of Adi ideology among scheduled castes. Okay, so later in 1931 census, Adi Hindus were categorized as one of the group in the state scheduled caste list. In Uttar Pradesh, Chamas, whose traditional occupation was tanning of leather, skinning dead animals, manufacturing of leather, and removing soil, were one of the groups among the scheduled caste influenced by the leadership of Achyutanand and claim Adi Hindu status. Okay, so in Punjab, according to uh, uh, Mayor, Jagannath Mayor, Adidharma was an organization founded in 1925 under the leadership of Manguram among Chamas who traditionally worked as leather workers and termed as untouchables. A 6th century poet Ravidas became the foremost guru and his disciples, followers later known as the Ravidasis. And Ravidas fall under the Bhakti tradition poet and was seen as a sant. Within Adi Dharma as a religious and social way of life of untouchables, the poetry of Ravidas gained significance and was spread across regions of India. Thus, gradually, Adi Dharma became the religion of those who claimed they were the original inhabitants of India. and distinguish themselves from the Aryans. This was a break from Hinduism, where Dalits were establishing an altogether separate model of their own self and distinct way of their social cultural life. Adi movements in India have short lifespan in the regions in which it emerged and was not forwarded by other leaders with that passion uh, after the death of their main leader. However, they were successful in generating a sense of consciousness among the Dalit and prepare a platform for grassroots assertion and the formation of new identity of their own. Adi movement also pointed towards the religious diversity practiced among them and an alternative paradigm to establish a religion of their own other than Hinduism. Ambedkar conversion to Buddhism in last years, mass conversion of Dalit to other religions such as Buddhism, Christianity, and sometimes Islam are other examples of religious diversity. Okay, so practiced and adapted by Dalit current times. Secondly, Adi movements provide Dalit different identity of their own that solely define and represent them as a social and cultural distinct part of Indian society, where they are free from following any norms or principles dictated by Hindu Varna society. Adi movements raise an important question of inclusion or exclusion of Dalit in Hindu society. The issue of untouchables as Hindus or non-Hindu remains the sensitive issue, which also gained public and official significance in pre-independent India during first and second round table conference in London in 1931 and 32, where Ambedkar demanded for separate electorates for untouchables or depressed classes in legislature, and this demand was temporary in nature because after 10 years it will get replaced by general electorates with the provision of reserved seats for them. However, Gandhiji, on the other hand, strongly opposed this idea of Ambedkar, as it will further divide untouchables and Hindus. On the other hand, Communal Award of August 1916, 1932, August 16, 1932, under the presidency of Ramsay MacDonald, announced separate electors for scheduled caste and also reserved rights for voting in general electorates. Gandhiji further opposed it by going on hunger strike and forced Ambedkar to take back his decision of separate electorates for scheduled caste, and agreement was settled between them on provision of guaranteeing 178 seats to scheduled caste in joint electorates. This fact was profoundly known as Pune Pact in 1930. Okay, so likewise, due to Adi movements, certain consciousness among Dalits has taken place, and certain provisions also they got. Okay, so by the inspiration of these movements, many states Telugu speaking region and other Punjab, Karnataka, there are other Adi movements has started. Okay, so this is end of my class today, and I will again meet you tomorrow and with the Adi Hindu movement, which started in Telugu speaking lands. Okay, so Adi Andhra and Adi Hindu movement, which developed in Telugu speaking lands. Okay, so thank you. I am ending my class now.